So the first book is Clean Getaway by Nick Stone. And this is about a boy named William. He's otherwise known as Scoob, and he is in trouble again at school. His father has grounded him. And when his grandmother, his favorite person in the world, asks him to go on a road trip with her in an RV that she just bought, he says, "Oh, yes." Well, this road trip will change Scoob's life. His grandmother has a special Traveler's Green book with her. It's dated 1963, and it's a guide for African Americans traveling in the South. Grandma is taking Scoob to some of the same places she visited with her husband a long time ago. But Grandma starts acting weird. She won't answer Scoob's father's texts. So Scoob's father has no idea what's going on and where they are. She keeps changing the license plates on the RV. And she doesn't fully answer Scoob's questions. This is a wacky, funny, bittersweet story about a white grandmother and a black grandson. And again, it's called Clean Getaway. Our next book is The Magnificent Monsters of Cedar Street. And this is a really complicated but wonderful mystery, horror book, historical fiction, fantasy, all mixed up into one. And I'm pretty sure it is the first one in the series. So this book takes place in Boston in the early 1900s. And it's about Cordelia and her father, who save and heal magical or otherwise known as unusual creatures. Their home is on Cedar Street in Beacon Hill, and it's full of dragons, squelches, zuppies, and filches. Now, not everyone is so accepting of these creatures. This is the time when some folks aren't so welcoming to outsiders or immigrants. So some would call these creatures monsters. Well, one day, Cordelia's dad disappears, and almost all of the creatures are gone too. With very few clues, a left-behind baby dragon, a hiding filch, Cordelia sets out to find her father and the rest of the creatures. She does get help from a new friend she's met. His name is Gregory, and he is an orphan, and he actually comes to visit Cordelia, hoping she can save his zuppie. Now, of course, you were wondering what is a zuppie and what is a filch. I will explain to you. In the very beginning of the book, there is a short guide to the monsters referenced in this book, excerpted from A Guide to Monsters and Their Habits by Elizabeth Clay. Now, Elizabeth Clay is indeed Cordelia's mom, and her mom died, and we do not know how. That is yet another mystery. So it describes what filches are. Filches are amphibious in nature with tapered snouts, coarse fur, and an anatomy similar to that of a chimpanzee, to which they are closely related. They are, however, swamp creatures and eat a varied diet of mud, grubs, and small fish, which gives them a famously identifiable stink. While known for farting regularly, these regular expulsions of gas are actually an important feature not of the filch's digestive tract, but of its sensory mechanisms. Filches have poor eyesight and only decent hearing, but excellent depth perception and incredible mobility as a result. Recent studies have suggested they see in part by expulsions of gas particles, whose particular passage into space or onto obstructing objects is then detected through scenting. So those are filches. And then it also describes what zuppies are. And zuppies are basically often known as zombie puppies. Okay, so that's what zuppies are. So an incredibly fun, all-encompassing read. Once you start, you must finish. And it's called The Magnificent Monsters of Cedar Street. Next book is Bouncing Back. And if you love sports, you will love this book because there are all kinds of wonderful basketball playing scenes. So Carlos' life will never be the same. He and his parents were in a terrible car accident. His parents died, but he survived. He now lives with his aunt and uncle, and they are incredibly, wonderfully supportive, but he is now paralyzed from the waist down. Now, he used to be the star scorer on his old basketball team, and now he doesn't know what he's going to do. His aunt takes him to this rundown, ratty-looking old gym where there is a basketball team for tweens and teens that use wheelchairs. And it's hard for him to even dribble on his first day, but he doesn't give up. He learns how to play in a wheelchair and starts really enjoying his teammates. And the kids on this team, they're actually really good, and they might get to the state tournament. But they need to keep practicing in this particular gym. This is the only place they can practice. And then the crooked mayor threatens to shut down their gym. So Carlos gets even more involved with his teammates to try and prevent that from happening. So if you like sports, if you like teammate stories, if you like stories about kids overcoming their difficulties, you will like Bouncing Back. Next book is more to the story. And this is basically a Pakistani Muslim American retake on Little Women, set in 2019, and it takes place in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, Jamila, who is like Joe, wants to be a journalist and struggles with her classmate as they try and work on the school newspaper together. Mariam, who is like May, is really beautiful and she's totally into doing her Instagram account. Bisma is like Beth, and she really loves music. She's quite talented, but she, like Beth, also gets seriously ill. Eliza is like Amy. She's kind of bratty, and she's really talented artistically. And just like in Little Women, where they had to deal with civil war, and the father was away, and how do you support people in your community, the same thing happens in this book. Their dad gets a job way, way far away on the other side of the world. Jamila has to try and deal with honesty in journalism. There are microaggressions against these girls. And then there's the issue of how do you truly apologize to someone. It's a great sisterhood and family story. And if you like Little Women, you will like this book just as much. And again, it's called More to the Story.